What's up YouTube? It's your boy Walker on the line back with another video, and today not necessarily a ton to talk about, and I'm going to be jumping around here and there from different topics because a lot's been going on. So the main thing I want to talk about today is multicolor printing with the Bambu P1S and the AMS unit, and show you guys how to do it in Bambu, and just talk a little bit about the stuff that I've been testing, what I've been working with, and have a little bit of time lapses for what I've done so far. One is currently printing right now, but before this video goes up, I will make sure that this one is in there in the time lapse. It's going to take roughly 2 days. I went and tried to put the printer in ludicrous mode, but then it started scratching where it was printing. So I put it in sport mode, which is 124% faster. So it's probably still gonna take about a day or two to print. But before I go ahead and jump in, I'm gonna jump in on the computer and show you guys how to work with the colored prints with your Bambu Studio. All right guys, we're here on Bambu Lab. I'm gonna show you guys how to paint your 3D models so you can get them ready and sliced up to be printed for your Bambu printers. So at first what you want to do, as you can see, I already have these colored in. This is very simple. It's the Helldiver's helmet I'm currently working on. So you'll load up your file, you'll get it ready on the plates and everything, and when you want to go and color it, you will click on your model and it'll show it selected like this, and then you'll go up here to the color painting right here, or you can press in and it will bring you here. And so when you're in here, you have these colors right here, which transfer from your filament right here. So there's multiple options for painting. You have your regular circle, and this is essentially just drawing. You can turn the pen size up and just draw. So for example, I could draw it like this and just paint it however, and that's colored. That's ready to go. And let's say there's that little gap. I go over here to the fill and click it, and it fills it in. But obviously we don't want to make it look sloppy. As you can see, I have these looking nice and neat. So to get stuff like this, you see how it's automatically selecting things? So whenever you go over here to your fill, you can adjust it to be very small, which will tidy down the selection. You can adjust it to be very big, which will largen the selection, and then you can lower it and it'll, you just adjust it as need be. So like, boom, click that, boom, click that, boom, click that, and it paints what it selects. So it's very simple. It's just, adjusting this to the size you need it to select whatever you need in here. It really gets complicated whenever you do models that are a little bit more difficult. And I'll go ahead and show you one. So right here, for example, is a model that my buddy needed. He wanted a keychain. He wanted a keychain for his truck, so I went ahead and did it. And he wanted it in black and white. And so I had to go in here and start it out. I have to add the color, add it to black. So now I have white and black. And so then I can click my infill. And so what I'm going to do is, since majority of everything except for the lettering is going to be black, I'm going to turn this all the way up so it'll coat everything. And I just click it, and then it coats the entire thing in black. And so now, coming back down in here, and then I'll lower my selection, and then I can select everything. And then, all the letters. And as long as they're, defined very well, this is not hard. When it gets to those really complex, very detailed prints, that's where it'll get difficult when you need to change coloring. As you can also see right here, so it colors this top right here, but it does not color this edge. And of course I want this edge to be white as well. So you have to go in and you have to select every single piece. Every single piece. I'm not going to do it because I don't need it, but I'm just showing you for example. So you see how all these, let's say I needed all this to be white. if I'm on the fill and I click this, but I hold it and then I drag, it will just keep painting. As long as I'm painting whatever I need, it will just drag and paint the whole thing. And so now the biggest part that I think everybody should know when you're messing with colored prints in Bambu Lab is you can find people who have already made files that are colored in for you, and you don't have to do any of the work as long as you're going to print it in those colors, or you don't need to change anything specific. So for example, let's say I go into here and I just type in MMU for the multicolors. Let's load up this Deadpool, and we're gonna hit download. And see, he is already loaded, he is already colored, and as long as I have all these colors loaded in my AMS unit, he is good to go. He is ready to roll, and I can go ahead and hit print. And so, I'll go ahead and slice him up. So as you can see, he's sliced up, and these colored prints take a very, very long time to print. As you can see, this current model is going to take 2 days and 21 hours, and that is at the speed of 50 for initial, 105 for initial layer infill, and 200 and 300 for outer and inner wall. And that's pretty fast. That's pretty fast for this print. And that's also with no supports either. So colored printing does take a very long time, so please don't expect this to be really fast and really quick. If you want good quality prints, especially multicolored prints, you're gonna have to wait. You need to wait and take your time, and you may be able to bump it up into, for example, sport or ludicrous speed for some of these prints, but be careful because you don't want to ruin the quality of the print. Let's say your printer is loaded up and you have it loaded in a different order than this guy has his loaded up. So what you would do is you would just hit print, and this is where you can select your AMS units. See, A1, A2, A3, A4. And so what you would do, let's say I had my red in A4, I would click A4. I had my black in A2, I'd click A2. Had my white in A3, I'd click A3, and I have my brown in A1. I'd click A1. Super simple, not hard. I don't have a fifth one because you need to buy another unit if you're going to use more. But that's how you would do it if their orientation is set up different than yours. So that's how you select your AMS units for which one to pull, for which colors, and then you're ready to go. You would just enable what you need to enable, send it over to the printer, and you would start printing. So yeah, multicolor prints, it's a little bit scary at first. It was definitely scary for me because I did not realize how it worked. So I just went in there, looked up a video on how to color a thing, and then I started coloring a Benchy and started checking it out. And at first it was really intimidating because I'm like, oh dear Lord, this is way harder because the little letters, you have to pick the color for that. Back here as well, these little letters, had to pick the color for that. All these little tiny intricate details, and then I'm sitting there thinking, and I'm like, what am I gonna do when it gets to these like super in detail, very intricate prints? Sometimes I'm gonna have no choice because there's gonna be no prints that are set like that, so I'm gonna have to take the time and do it. Now obviously I don't charge out the ass for doing other stuff. Like for example, if a customer had a print that they wanted and it wasn't set up for colors, I would just upcharge like $10 extra on the order because I'm not trying to penny nickel dime everybody. I just need to be paid for my time. But overall, I'm happy doing this stuff. Like, it doesn't bother me. Don't get me wrong, it gets annoying for certain things, but at the end of the day, I'm still doing what I love. And when I start to get really annoyed, I sit there and I think, I'm making money from this, this is like really nice and I'm enjoying what I'm doing. So can I really complain that much? I really can't. And just, a little update on the progress. I'm currently working on one customer's order. They have little custom prints that they want made out. I'm not gonna show it in the video. Some kind of construction thing that this guy's trying to pitch, and he needed 3D models so that way he could show it to the higher ups and pitch this idea and get funding for the project. So I'm not gonna show that because that is definitely no one knows about it type thing. It's his idea and I don't want to put it out there online for someone to maybe steal. But other than orders and other stuff, I'm currently working on some resin bottle holders. I made this stand over here to set my filament on. And so I was like, I would really like something for this because that would just because that would be very helpful. And not saying it's necessary because they already sit upright. This is more of like a custom project. I just want to see how it goes type thing. And so the idea for this print, the idea behind it, it's just going to sit on the desk and it's just going to hold the bottle like this. And I know it's very odd and people are probably sitting there like, why are you printing that? It's almost an unnecessary print. Just set your bottles down. But when doing all this work, the best thing to have is organization. Organization is such a key factor whenever you're working with multiple printers and multiple different types of materials. And so, for example, you know, I've had these bottles sitting on desks this whole time, and it's not a problem. I can still have them sitting on desks. But what this is going to do is help me out, for one, with organization, because I have my empty bottles in a tote, and then I'll have my bottles that I'm currently using, which I typically buy 4 at a time. I will have them lined up on my desk, sitting right here, and then I can just grab them and use them as I please. But the biggest thing is whenever I go to pour resin in the machine, typically there's some dripping that goes on the bottle. Sometimes I just don't grab it, or maybe there's some dripping up in the cap and it'll slowly seep out. Whenever it slowly seeps out, it'll eventually get to the desk and I'm not thinking about it because, you know, I'm not looking at it unless I'm using it. And so then I'll get resin all over the table, wet spots and stuff like that. So essentially what these cup holders will be doing for this bottle is if there's any kind of leakage or anything, you know, it'll land into the holder instead of onto my table. So not only, one, does it keep it out of the way and I have more desk room and it stays organized, two, it helps with any type of leakage and all that, because if resin gets in that, I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried if resin gets on that. Resin gets on the desk, it's a little bit of a different story because, you know, you got to clean it up and then it'll eventually soak into the wood and blah, 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 blah. But yeah, so I'm having tons of fun. And I'm really glad orders are starting to pick up a little bit. And I have a good feeling that when I get this print out and this goes on to my ad, that orders will pick up even more. And I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have orders that people are gonna be like, can you do this? Can you do that? And then it's gonna be situations where I'll be like, no, I can't because there's not a file for it. And I'm gonna be like, no, I can't, because it's gonna be a lot of like people wanting super custom stuff that's not even out there, and I'm just not gonna be able to do it because I don't 3D model. I just don't do stuff like that. I wanna learn, but it's a massive learning curve, and I'm already busy as it is with my real job and then this little side job. So trying to learn how to 3D model is just it would take me like a year to get really decent at it. So not only would it take me a year to get really decent at 3D modeling, I wouldn't even be able to make products that I would want to make. So it's one of those things where I would rather just find someone who knows how to do it and just pay them, and then put that on top of, you know, what the customer pays if they really want that product. But yeah, man, having tons of fun. And it's been swapping a little bit. I don't know if you can see. You can barely see it, but there's some white there. But yeah, that's gonna be a little Spider-Man bust. Whenever it gets done printing, I'll try and remember to pull the camera back up and do that. I hope I helped you learn how to do the multicolor prints and maybe make stuff easier for you. Like I said, I'm still learning, so I'm not 100% great at everything I'm doing right now. But as I learn, I'm gonna be uploading essentially this whole process of me growing this little business that I'm trying to do out of my apartment room. If I ever get to the point where I can open up a shop and do stuff like do it for a real job, that is the main goal of what I'm doing here. Chances of it are very unlikely. I don't know if it'll ever happen, especially with how more easily accessible 3D printing is going for everyone else. And doing videos like this is kind of the reason, you know, I'm essentially teaching you guys my tips and tricks of what I do for a business. But at the same time, I mean, like, I know how it is. But I don't want to be greedy, and, you know, I just want to do everything I can to help make your guys' day a little bit better. Make products as well. Because maybe you're not even trying to make a business out of it. Maybe you just own a 3D printer because you want figurines, but you don't want to pay $200 per figurine. You're just like, if I'm gonna pay $200, why don't I get a 3D printer and print the figurine myself? I understand those people as well. It's a bit greedy and selfish of me to just not share the stuff I'm learning with people, especially at such a novice level, because I feel like most of this 3D printing YouTube world is so full of people who are so professionals. It's so full of people who know what they're talking about and know the fine details. And I feel like there's something lacking in this space of just the regular guy making a video and explaining it. Just about everybody you see is telling you the technical definitions and explaining everything in super high detail. And I know there's a market for it, and I know people do like to know exactly what's going on, but I understand how confusing it can get. So I try to keep my stuff at a novice level just because it's helpful. It's not that you don't want to know how things work. It's that right now, trying to comprehend all of that knowledge is really hard to do. It's really hard to do because you just bought a printer and they're saying words that you don't understand. And then it's very discouraging and it's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And so that's why I'm here. I'm here because I'm just trying to help you guys learn, and not just learn, but learn with me. I literally just started doing multicolor prints today. This is the first time I've done it. So you're getting fresh off the dome from my brain processing of this to a video to you guys. And I feel like this is as close as you're gonna get to a novice video. And eventually maybe I will learn the technical definitions, especially if I'm staying in the field for so long. I don't see why I wouldn't. As of right now, I don't need to know technical definitions. As of right now, I just need to learn what I'm doing and how to make it better. And then when I learn how to make it better, I need to learn how to make it perfect. And when I learn how to make it perfect, then I need to know what I'm talking about. I need to understand what's going on. To make things perfect, you need to know what the machine's doing then. You need to know what you're adjusting. But to make good products, mediocre products that look completely fine, you do not need to know the technical definitions. All right guys, we're back. The print is finally done. It's been done for a few days now. I just haven't been able to pick the camera up and record, but we're finally back and you finally get to see the print, and this is what it looks like. Absolutely beautiful. This print came out so good and so perfect. I couldn't be more pleased with it. The detail is really insane. Very happy. But yeah guys, I'm gonna go ahead and make this outro very quick because I already recorded that and I had to format the SD card and I need to record this next video. So I really hope you guys enjoyed the video and I hope you come back for more. Leave a comment down below if you have anything to say, and I appreciate you guys. Have a good one.